Money grows, peace can grow, money stack can grow, only money grows.
With the release of the Epstein files and the revealing of the sick and twisted underbelly of this society, led by the elite and the power-drunken devil worshippers that enact the most cruel and horrendous crimes against our most fragile and susceptible people, being our children, led me to want to start having a real conversation and dialogue with the American people. Because if we don't, only Lord knows what direction and what path we will continue to go down. I think it's time for us to have a revolution and to restore the original republic of this land. This is a call to action from all of my fellow Americans. Every generation is tested, not by comfort, but by the truth. And the truth is this: the systems governing this country no longer reflects the will, the dignity, or the interests of the people. We are taxed without clarity, governed without consent, divided while powers concentrate, and told that this is normal when it is not. This nation did not drift into crisis or chaos by accident. It was shaped by a history of lies, colonization, extraction, and the concealment and the conciliation of power. First over the land, then over labor, and finally over the people themselves. And to understand where we must go, we must be honest about where we began. Before America was a republic, before it was a colony, this land was already governed. Not lawless, not empty, it was governed. And so-called black people were not foreign to this land. So-called African-descended people were present in the Americas before and during colonization, through ancient migrations, exploration, and continuous settlement. After colonization, bringing millions more. Even though they were forced here, and through centuries of labor, survival, legacy, and lineage became inseparable, rooted in this land, down to the soil. Indigenous does not mean what modern governments decide it means. Indigenous means of the land, formed by it, sustained by it, buried in it, and bound to it across generations. By that definition, African Americans are not outsiders to America, but are the most foundational people. Their labor cleared the land. Their hands built the infrastructure. Their knowledge shaped agriculture, architecture, music, language, and industry. Their unpaid work generated enormous wealth without ownership, protection, or sovereignty. Before colonization disrupted governance across the Americas, society functioned through systems that modern political stances rarely like to acknowledge. We had councils instead of kings, elders instead of elites. We had a consensus instead of a dominant stewardship. Instead of exploitation, leadership was held accountable. Land was considered sacred. Economics served the community, not the other way around. Colonization did not bring civilization, it brought extraction. And that same colonial logic still operates today. We see it in the tax system, so complex that the average citizen cannot navigate it, yet so flexible that the wealthy avoid responsibility altogether. Taxation without representation is slavery. We see it in the regulatory agencies that enforce rules downward and never upward. We see it in the political leaders who rotate through office. They all just accumulate more and more wealth and remain insolvent of any consequences. This is not left versus right. This is the people versus a captured system. So let us define what has been taken clearly. And let's be very honest about what it is. It was our sovereignty. Sovereignty means the ultimate authority to govern oneself. It means the power to decide how we live, how we organize, how we own, how we pass resources to the future generations without permission from unaccountable forces. True sovereignty does not come from titles, slogans. It comes from control over land, labor, laws, and legacy. When families own nothing, they are not sovereign. When communities cannot protect their resources, they are not sovereign. When laws serve institutions before the people, sovereignty has then been displaced. Corruption survives not because people accept it, but because people have been disconnected from their power. But the power has belonged to, and it will always belong to the people, not through violence, through structure. If power was taken through laws, then power must be restored through laws, peacefully, intelligently, and collectively. That restoration begins in the smallest unit, and that's the family. Families organizing trust to protect land, labor, and legacy. Community pooling resources instead of bleeding them outward. People learning ownership, not just employment. Local governance rooted in accountability instead of party loyalty. This is sovereignty. This is sovereignty in practice, not separation from the nation, but ownership within it. That's why every American must create a family trust document. And it will be the start of a power play for the people to regain control over our destinies. Because us all being honest, the two-party system has failed to deliver the future. Red and blue have argued for generations while inequality deepened. Infrastructure begins decaying and trust collapsed. We do not need new faces in old parties. We need new structures built on shared principles. Transparency instead of secrecy, accountability instead of immunity, cooperation instead of division, peaceful civic action instead of chaos. This is not about tearing America down. This is about finishing the work it never completed. A nation that refuses to tell the truth about its foundations cannot stand forever. But a nation that is brave enough to face its history can transform without destroying itself. Black Americans carry some of the deepest memories of what was taken and some of the clearest visions of what can be restored. Not supremacy, not excluding, but repairing. Dignity and shared stewardship. The future of America does not lie in denial, it lies in recognition. Recognition of the indigenous people, recognition of the Black Americans as foundational stewards of this land. Recognition that sovereignty ultimately lives with the people, not institutions, not parties, not corporations. This is a peaceful revolution that's just based off values, fought in ballot boxes, built in communities, secured through economics and self-determination, sustained by the truth. The question is no longer whether the system is broken, because we all know that it is. The question is whether are the people ready to rebuild it together? The true revolution starts with understanding that we don't have to give away our sovereignty in order to have peace, when actually it's the opposite. Peace comes from the logic minds of the sovereign spirit. I don't believe I'm over anyone, and I don't feel that anyone should be ruled over by anyone but the Almighty Father that's in heaven. And I hope this message reaches the people who share that faith and want to help build it, because I feel like the only way through this is together. So please let me know down in the comment section, what do you have to add to this conversation? Do you believe that steady going down the same paths of the left and the right, red and blue, is getting the job done? Because I feel like all it has done is mask these pedophiles that has been running us into the ground and trying to make every last being on this earth a slave. And it's up to us to make a change. So if you guys want to start having that conversation, respectfully, let's have it in the comment section and in the videos that I will be releasing forward. We have to come to an understanding. We have to stand up for ourselves. I don't have hate in my heart for anybody, and I pray the ones who don't have any hate for me realize the problem and that we have to come together to fix it. So with that being said, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. With that being said, King Marcel out. Peace.
Who is alive, looking for the prize, that's eternal life, and bringing the change in my mind, talking real peace of mind.